we need to create account site. I will give the reference of entity as account site. So we need to create entity object. Here we need to pass the schema name. For example, new underscore account site is my entity name. In this entity, I need to fill in some attributes like account name and other fields. So account name, we will be getting it from the target, right? So what I'll do, string account name. I need to fetch this account name from the target. Account dot attributes name dot toString. So in this line, we will be getting the account name. I need to set this account name where in account side dot attributes new underscore name is equal to and then we need to these two entities are in a relation account side. So obviously in account side there will be a account lookup because in account entity there will be a subgrid called account side where one account is linked to multiple account sites. Account is primary entity, account site is child entity. So how the linking will happen when the lookup is filled, then in the selected value, the account site will be displayed in the subgrid. So we need to fill the account site at attributes of new underscore account. Think it is a lookup is equals to we need to set the lookup. So if you remember in JavaScript also to set a lookup value we need to pass the object. Similarly in plugins we need to create an entity reference. In that entity reference if you see it will take three parameters. This one it will take the parameters entity name and ID which we need to set. ID we will be getting it here in the entity target. So which entity value we need to set? Account entity. This is the entity name and we need to pass the ID of the account. So where that is present, account dot account dot ID. So what we are doing, we are creating an entity called account site and we are setting of values in account site of name and account that is coming from account entity. And then finally we need to create service dot create. Which entity we need to create? Account site. So you may think since we will be working in different operation, pre-operation or post-operation, why we need to create this explicitly? Because we are performing operation in different entity. Action is taking place at one entity. We are performing action in another entity. For example, what I told you, the requirement whenever an account is created. So we are writing a plugin on account entity. When an account is created, then we are creating one site. So operation is executing at account entity, but we are explicitly creating the record in account side. So that's why we are creating, we declared an entity and we are setting values, and finally we are creating the account set. This is how you need to do. So these field names, entity logical name will be different, but overall code is this: to create an account site on creation of account. So what if you don't write this line? Account site will be created, but that will not be listed under one account because that lookup field will be empty. For example, if I open any account, if I go to accounts, if I open any existing account, we have a subgrid called primary contact. Okay, so why this contact is displaying under the account? Because when I open this contact, that account is filled in this lookup. If I remove this lookup value, do you see the contact in account? Let's check. There is no record. So how the records will display in the subgrid? Subgrid and lookup will be created in the relationship. Subgrid will create in the parent entity, lookup will create in the child entity. If that lookup have data, then in that data, the record will be displayed under the subgrid of parent record. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So today, for the similar requirement, what we will do on account creation, we are generating account number as a random number, right? Now we need to generate an account number with the sequential order. Generate account number in sequence. So let's say if we are starting with the minimum value as this, and any new record create, that new record should get this value. Another record will get this value. Third record will get this value. So this is the requirement. So we need to generate a sequence number to the account number field. Now tell me how you will think this, how you will generally, how you want to achieve, what you need to do. Just think and let me know the approach. Then we will build the logic. Okay, I will give you an hint. We will create a separate one different entity to maintain this configuration. So what I'll do, I will create one configuration entity. In that configuration entity, I will create a record account number sequence. So here I will maintain the value that needs to set for the account. So the minimum value I will start. This is the minimum value that I want to start. So I will maintain this configuration in the CRM. So whenever new account is creating, whenever new account is getting created, then what I'll do, I will fetch this value. Fetch account number configuration entity and set in account number field. So what it will happen? So I will maintain the base value, the base number in one different entity. Whenever account is created, I will fetch this value and I will set in an account number. What else I need to do? What else I need to do? Once the this account number base number is set in one first record, then I need to update this value as well to +1. Update configuration record with +1, so that once this is the base number, first record is created, this value will be set in a first account. As soon as it's set, then I will increment this value to +1. So this value will be set for second account. For second time, I will increment it to again 1. So like this, we will maintain the sequential order. This is the approach. Okay. Now I will create a plugin. So how to create a plugin? New project, class library, class library with .NET framework. Next, set account number in sequence. Then what we need to do? We need to add the DLLs. Right click, manage NuGet package, browse Microsoft.xrm.sdk. This is the core libraries. Okay. Now, next, what we need to do? We need to use these references in the code using Microsoft.xrm.sdk, using Microsoft.crm.sdk. The next step is we need to inherit the I plugin. Then we need to implement execute method, public void execute. Here we'll take one parameter called service provider, and then next 3-line code will be common. What is that? I plugin execution context is equals to I plugin execution context of service provider dot get service of type I plugin execution context. So here I organization service factory. Copy this, paste here, paste here, and change the reference because we already declared this reference. I will say factory, and then we need to create a organization service. service. How to create using factory dot create organization service context dot user id, because it will take user id. These three lines are common. Next, what we need to check, since we are performing an entity, we will check target. If context dot input parameters that contains target and context dot input parameters of target is what is entity, then I will store the all the context target entity details in one entity. I will create entity account is equals to entity of where this entity present in the context dot input parameters of target. Then again, if account dot logical name is account, I'm just checking whether we are performing in account or not. Then we need to set the value in account number field. Okay, before that, what we need to do, we need to create a configuration entity. Let's go and create the configuration entity. In the solution, I will create one configuration entity. I will create configuration. I will place in sales and settings.
Work fast. Work fast.
Okay. In this, I will create a field called value. Value. I will add this value in the form. Main form. Save. Publish. Okay, now let's check the same. Under settings, I place this entity. Configuration, and I will create one record as account number configuration. You can give any name. And here I will give the value as a base value that needs to be started. For example, this. Save. Now we are checking, we are performing a operation in account entity, and then we need to set a value, sequence value. To set a sequence value, first we need to get this value. So how to get? We have something called, we need to get an entity record. So for that, I will create entity config is equals to service dot retrieve. I'm retrieving the record. Which record I need to retrieve? Which entity I need to retrieve? I have to define it here. First thing, it will take entity name, then record ID, and then we need to add the columns. Which columns we need to fetch. So why we need to write this? See, even in JavaScript, when we are working with the retrieve or retrieve multiple, let me show you. So we are using retrieve, right? Set business unit, retrieve record. It is taking entity name to retrieve the user record, owner ID. Select these columns. Same way, in plugins also, retrieve will take entity name, which entity to retrieve, which record to retrieve. Once the record is retrieved, what columns to retrieve. Okay, so my entity, what is the entity? The configuration entity that we have created. If I go to this configuration, this is the entity. Just copy this name, schema name. Okay. I need to retrieve this entity. Which record you need to fetch? New GUID of, I need to retrieve one record. Which is that record? This is the record. So how to get the record ID? Just click on this level up, click on record ID. ID is copied. This is the ID. I am retrieving configuration entity record, and the record is this, and I need to fetch the value. This value I need to use. So what I'll do, I will create a column set. So here we are getting a error to add reference. For that, what you need to do, just click on control and dot. Here we need to add one more reference since we are querying the data. Same library, and last we need to add wait, column set. I will say configuration columns, config columns is equals to new column set of. Here you need to pass the columns. I will take two columns. One is the name and one is the value. How what to pass? The schema names of the field name, copy. Okay. New underscore name, comma. Another field that we need to retrieve is new underscore value. New underscore value. And we need to pass this column set here. So understand, till here you are clear, right? Now what we are doing, we are retrieving a configuration record. Retrieve will take three parameters: entity, ID, which records to be retrieved, and then we need to what columns we need to fetch, we have to define. Now once this code is executed, all this account, all this detail, name, value of this record will be stored in the configuration record. Now, what I will do, I will check if config that attributes that contains which field, new underscore value. If it contains the value, then what I'll do, I will store it in one variable, string account number is equals to where this value I need to get config dot attributes of this. Copy dot to string I need to convert. So we retrieve the account number field. This number field we need to set. Where we need to set? In account entity. Where this account entity present? Here. Account dot attributes of account number is equals to the value that we retrieved. So till here we set the account number, but we need to update the this value, right? How to update? First I need to increment it to 1. What I'll do, I will create int increment value. Why I am using integer? Because if I add string 2 plus 1, it will concatenate, it won't add. If I convert it to int, then it will add. Increment is equals to account number, sorry, account number plus 1. So if you see, we are getting error. What we are getting error? Cannot implicitly convert type string to int. So here we declare string. Here we are trying to use the string in integer. For that, what we need to do, we need to convert this explicitly. Convert dot to int account number. So the string will be converted to number. For this number, we are incrementing to plus 1. Okay. Then what we need to do, we need to update this record. So service dot update. Which record we need to update? Configuration. Before we need to set this value. Config dot attributes of new value. In this new value, I am going to set this incremented value dot to string because it is a single line text. And now I am updating service dot update to which record? Config record. See, only this line code that we have written. So here, first we are retrieving the configuration record where account number is maintained. Then once it retrieved, then we are checking if there is any value in the value field or not. If the value is there, then I am getting that value in one variable, and I am setting this variable to the account number field in account entity. Once I set this value, then I am incrementing to plus 1, and then this incremented value I will set it in the configuration value record, and then I will update this. Now see, I will build the project. Project is built. Now the next step is sign in the project. Right click, properties, sign in the assembly, new sequence number. Can give any key. Remove the password. Build the solution. And then here we need to register as an assembly. So first I will copy this path. Right click. So here my DLL is present. This is the one. I'll copy this path, paste it here, set account number in SIG. Select the DLL, register the assembly, and then what we need to do, we need to set create a step. Register, new step. Message is create, entity is account. I will use pre-operation, register, new step. So I will disable the first plugin, account number creation, because on the same field we have created two plugins. Okay. So how to disable? Select the step, click on disable. Now I will create a record. Save. The value that is set here. Okay, let's refresh this because it should be incremented. I'll refresh. You see the value is incremented to +1. If I create another record here, this value is set. If I refresh it here, again it would have incremented to +1. So like this, it will keep incrementing upon every account record creation. Is it clear? Let me know any question. You understood the code. So till here,
Yes, sir.
we use same code in all the plugins. I have created this column set to retrieve these columns. I am using this column set in the retrieve call. In retrieve, we are passing three parameters: entity that we need to retrieve, record that we need to retrieve. In that retrieve record, what columns we need to fetch. See, there will be hundreds of columns. We don't want hundreds of columns. We want only the required columns. Those I will create as a column set. Once the record is retrieved, then I'm checking if the value is present or not. And then I'm taking this value in one variable, string, and I'm setting this field value in account number field. Once I set here, I need to update this configuration record with +1. What I'll do, I will create integer. I will add the account number. I will do the +1. So it will increment to +1. And then I'm setting this updated incremented value in this field in the configuration entity, and then I'm explicitly updating because we are performing the update operation in the different entity. We have to do that. Okay. So now my requirement is account number should be generated sequentially, but it should have ACN, then account number. Prefix should be ACN, account number. What I need to do now? I will just add ACN hyphen build date and now if I create a record, like this it will come. Here it's set to 2. It would have incremented to 3. Let's refresh. Clear now? So what I'll do, I will try to show you how to debug the plugin. Then we will see what values we are getting. Okay. So let's discuss how to debug a plugin. We know how to debug a JavaScript, right? We all know how to debug a JavaScript. Can anybody explain how to debug a JavaScript? Debugging is important.
We have to open the console
Okay.
and select and place the debugger there and
Uh-huh.
execute the
Event.
execute the event, then press F10.
Okay. So first we need to press F12, then Control P,
Yes.
select the JavaScript file, place the debugger, and then execute the event. Event in the sense, let's say if we are trying to debug onload function, we need to reload the form. If we need to debug on save function, we need to hit save button. If we need to debug on change of any field, we need to change the field value. Then that respective function will be executed at the trigger point. From there, we will keep pressing F10 to check the line by line code. So in plugin how to debug, first we will open the plugin registration tool. Here we have install profiler. Let's install the profiler. The profile installation will take some time. Let's wait for that. Okay. Now before till then I will explain. First install the profiler in plugin registration tool. Then select the step that we need to debug and enable profile. Enable means click on start profiling. Click on start profile. 3. Execute the event. Event in CRM. 4. Open plugin registration tool again. Click on debug. Select the log. Okay. Then in Visual Studio, insert a debugger. Attach plugin registration tool as a process. 6th, in plugin registration tool, click on start. Now let's see one by one. Now we are in first step. We are installing the profiler in plugin registration tool. profiler is installed. Then select the plugin step, select account number. This is the assembly. We don't have to select the assembly, we have to select the step. So second step is install the profiler is completed. Select the step and click on start profile. Select the step, click on start profiling. So here let the persist to entity selected, click OK. Now it's profile. Let's go and try to create the record because we have registered the plugin on account record creation. Just account 4. Save. Okay. So we have executed the event in CRM. Then we need to open plugin registration tool. Let's open plugin registration tool. Click on debug button. Click on debug. And then what we have select the log. How to select the log? Click on this arrow. You will see all the logs. Select the one which is relevant and then assembly location. Load the assembly. This is okay. Select the log and select the assembly. Then what we need to do in Visual Studio, insert the debugger. I need to execute from here. Just click on this gray bar from the line where we need to debug the plugin. Select and then what you need to do, insert a debugger and attach plugin registration tool as a process. How to attach? So under debug, you will see attach to process. Just search for plugin registration, attach this process. How to attach the process here? Either you can see Control Alt P, Control plus Alt P, or in Visual Studio, debug, under debug, attach to process. Still here we have completed. Now in plugin registration tool, click on start. So if I open plugin registration tool, we have start execution. Once you click on start execution, the debugger is triggered. So from here, same in JavaScript, how we debug, same way, 10 key to check line by line code. Okay. So I will press F10, it will go to the next line. So if I hover on the context, if you see, context have lot of data. It have business unit, it have something called initiating user ID, it have the message name that we are triggering, it have organization name, right? It have parent context, it have account entity name, it have secondary entity name, obviously none, user ID, it have stage that we are performing, stage is 20, right? Because we have registered the plugin at the pre-operation. So if I show you input parameters, here only we are checking, right? Context dot input parameters dot key contains target or not. You see target is there and the value of the target is entity. In that entity, what we will have, we will see. Attributes we have. Under attributes, we have 37 columns that are retrieved from account, not on accounts configuration. So under keys, you will see the account fields. Under value, you will see the values. Okay. And then next, check another line. This is executed. So if I hover here, if I go to this, if I expand this, you see the logical name is account. That is what we are checking here. The condition is true. Then it will go inside this loop. Here we are retrieving a record. If I execute this line in the configuration, what I have all the configuration data. In attributes, how many attributes we have? 3. One will be ID and another two will be name value that we have mapped. So the key 0 value is name, 1 value is value, and 2 is configuration record ID. If I hover on the value, first one is name, second one is a value, third one is the record ID. It will check here string, account number that is retrieved, this one, account number that we set is this. So here what is the account number? 4. Okay, increment, once it is incremented, it will be 5. So this incremented value we are setting here and we are updating. Once the debug is finished, please try to disable this. How to? I'm not telling you to disable the step. Just click on stop profile. Only at the debugging time we need to enable the profiler. Other time we can stop the profiler. But here, once it is installed, you don't uninstall it, because at any later point of time you have to debug the plugin, so you require this profiler. So once you install, don't uninstall it, but once you profile, just stop profiling after once you debug is completed.